Hey, John Van Dyke here for New Jersey Exposed. Today is Sunday, November 14th, 2021. Time is 12:37 p.m. That's right, Jersey time. All right, we got lots of Blue Zero Hero stories. I'm not going to bore you with long videos about each individual one. We'll just go down the list. You know, those well-trained professionals, dedicated heroes, always out there risking your life as they protect and serve the government. Okay, now, by the way, people, if you got any of those bootlickers, blue goose swallowers, lollipop lickers, blue ball suckers, whatever you want to call them, who just think the police are there to protect and serve them, I want you to take one of these videos that I do with all the different stories on it and maybe give them the link and say, you know what, here's some heroes for you. They were out protecting and serving. So let's start with the first one. This one was submitted to me by his name is Tom, I think it is. He's from Maine. He's the one that gave me the porcupine story. That was a big hit, the porcupines. Poor little porcupines. The cops stopping there shooting them, torching the poor things. Anyway, this one is dated October 28th, and it is on WABL5.com, something like that. And it reads as follows: Maine deputies, officer, prosecutors among 13 charged in illegal marijuana distribution conspiracy. Jesus, from the foot soldier all the way up to the prosecutor. I wonder if the judge is involved in this. So anyway, here's the story. Take a good look. All right, I have not read this story, so we're going to find out together what it's all about. This is Farmington, Maine. 13 people, including law enforcement officers and elected officials, are facing federal charges connected to an alleged marijuana distribution and money laundering operation in Maine. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, the alleged drug conspiracy brought in more than, $13 million over 6 years of illegal bulk sales of marijuana. Excuse me, Jesus, I didn't know marijuana was up in Maine. You just don't hear about stuff like that. You know what's silly about it is here in New Jersey, pot is now legal. In other states, it's now legal. The whole thing is just it's stupid. Okay, Randall Cosino of Farmington pleaded guilty on Wednesday to conspiracy to distribute more than 1,000 kilograms, 2,200 pounds, of cannabis and 1,000 marijuana plants. Prosecutors call Cosino the primary financier of an illegal marijuana cultivation facility in Farmington. He faces up to life in prison and a $10 million fine. See what it all comes down to. Like here in New Jersey, it's not illegal now. They're not going to prosecute you to have pot. You're allowed to grow up to X amount of plants on your own property. But what it comes down to is the state wants their piece of the action. That's what it comes down to, and that's what this comes down to. It's just silly that a man's going to spend the rest of his life in jail for a plant that's legal in other states. According to prosecutors, members of the operation grew and sold marijuana to customers outside of Maine's legalized medical cannabis caregiver system, including the buyers out of state. Yeah, because it's cheaper than paying a state. You buy the pot through a dispensary. It's probably about 90% of its tax. It's cheaper to get it on the street. The only difference is if you buy it at a dispensary, you kind of know what you're getting, whereas on the street you don't know what you're getting. It's a crapshoot. 12 other people have been indicted as members of the alleged conspiracy. Lucas Sirois is facing 6 charges, including conspiracy to distribute drugs, money laundering, and bank fraud. According to investigators, Sirois was the leader of the criminal organization, structuring the operation to appear as if he was complying with the state medical cannabis laws while allegedly selling large amounts of the drug on the illicit market. You'd think the state would wake up and realize, boy, there's a pretty big market for this, and we could make a lot of money, and we could lower people's taxes if we did this and regulated it. Both former deputies are facing charges for bank fraud, conspiracy to commit honest service fraud. Franklin County Sheriff Scott Nicholas said both deputies resigned from their jobs in the department in fall of 2019. Nicholas said his office was made aware of the investigation in the summer of 2020 and fully cooperated with federal authorities. Franklin County Assistant District Attorney Kayla Alves is accused of tipping off Scoville about the investigation. Alves is charged with tampering with proceedings and tampering with documents. Prosecutors said Alves was told the deputies were being watched by federal authorities by Wilton Police Officer Kevin LeMay and then Oxford County Deputy James McLam. All three officials are accused of destroying electronic evidence of their illegal communications with Scoville and Doucette to cover up their roles. LeMay and McLam have been charged with tampering with documents. McLam is also charged with conspiracy to commit honest service fraud. According to the prosecutors, Wrangley Selectman David Burgess allegedly took tens of thousands of dollars in cash payments from Ciros in exchange for pushing an agenda favorable to his marijuana operations. Investigators says Ciros paid the local selectman thousands of dollars each week to manage his marijuana business. Well, there you go. We had some entrepreneurs, some police officers, entrepreneurs, if you will, trying to make a few bucks and didn't work out. This is another story sent in from my friend from Maine who did the porcupine, sent me the porcupine story. This one is dated November 3rd, 2021. And where is this on? BangorDailyNews.com. And it reads as follows. Stockton Springs police officer charged with sexually assaulting teenager. Wow, what a surprise. Another officer sexually assaulting somebody. You know, these are just isolated incidents, people. I want you to know that. I also want you to know that Webster's Dictionary has changed the meaning of isolated incident, of the word isolated. A part-time Stockton Springs police officer was arrested Monday for allegedly assaulting a 15-year-old girl. They love 15. I'm telling you, 15 is a magic number with these bad cops, these blue zero hero perverts. For allegedly sexually assaulting a 15-year-old girl at least a dozen times over the course of about 6 months. Christopher C. Haas, 32 of Rockland, was charged with 12 counts of Class B gross sexual assault and is being held on $10,000 cash bail. The alleged assault began in the spring of this year, became more frequent over the summer, and continued that way until last week, according to court documents. Maine State Police operated an investigation on October 29th after the victim told a school counselor that she was being sexually assaulted by Haas. According to a police affidavit filed in Knox County Court by Maine State Police Detective Christopher Crawford, the teenage girl told police that Haas first sexually assaulted her around March or April, and then about 2 months later he began having sex with her at least once a week. According to the court documents, the last instance was alleged sexual assault was on October 27th. Now, one has to ask themselves, the girl is 15, all right? Now, I'm not making excuses, but the girl is 15, and obviously he kept going back and she kept saying yes. One has to ask yourself, what is going on here? Was she afraid, or maybe she liked it at first, or who knows? But there's some question. That does not exonerate this cop from what he's doing, but somehow I kind of think she played a little role in this. Because how did this happen to begin with? Was he using force on her, or is he just flirting with her and it happens? Many questions to be answered, and we'll never know. The victim told police Haas considered himself to be her boyfriend, and that they frequently communicated via text. That's bad. Bad news. Don't do the text messaging. Bad news. sent the girl sexually explicit internet links, requested that she send him, nude photos of herself, and also asked her to delete any messages to or from him, according to court documents. About 2 weeks ago, Haas allegedly sent the girl a Snapchat message insinuating that he wanted to kill her mother so they could be together forever, according to the affidavit. Well, that ain't too smart. You're having sex with an underage girl, 15 years old, and you're going to threaten to kill her mother? That ain't too smart. That's probably what precipitated this whole thing. She's afraid he's going to kill her mother, and now she's going to go spill the beans. In an interview with police on Monday, Haas denied having sex with the victim. Haas has worked as a part-time police officer for the town of Stockton Springs since 2015, according to town manager Max Smith. Smith said Wednesday that Haas is currently on unpaid administrative leave, pending the outcome of the charges against him. Haas, who has not yet entered a plea, made his first court appearance Wednesday afternoon in Knox County Court, where a judge set his bail. He is scheduled to appear in court again on January 27th. And that's that. And there's the story right there. I don't know if I showed it to you. This one is reported on Reason.com. It came out on October 29th, 2021. Cop charged with murder after killing 11-year-old girl in car ramming assault. Okay, let's find out. Police are overly fond of the practice they bloodlessly call the precision immobilization technique. Yeah, well, that could be anything. Shoot them, tase them, hit them over the head, choke them out, which in layman's terms means ramming into a moving vehicle they want to stop. It is often done for something as simple as victimless traffic law enforcement. Well, most law enforcement shit is. This week, New York State Trooper Christopher Baldner was charged with second-degree murder for his overzealous use of this technique on a vehicle, evading his attempt to give the driver a speeding ticket. Doesn't he check with headquarters first? Don't they get on the radio and say, car 5 to headquarters, he's not stopping, requesting permission to do the maneuver? And then doesn't the supervisor give him tell him to do that? Apparently not. The second time he rammed the SUV in question from behind, he flipped it upside down over a guardrail and killed an 11-year-old girl, Monica Goods, who was a passenger vehicle along with her mother and her 12-year-old sister. You imagine that? And I bet that jerk-off probably puts his head to the pillow at night and sleeps like a baby, right? He doesn't lay in bed and say, you know, I feel bad killing that poor girl. I screwed up. I should have never done that. No, he's probably thinking, how am I going to get out of this? How am I going to get out of this? I hope they put this son of a bitch in jail. And I hope that they bring up a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the agency. Baldner had initially pulled over the driver, Monica's father, Tristan Goods, on Interstate 87 in Ulster County on December 22nd, 2020, for allegedly speeding while they were on their way to visit family for Christmas. Oh, that nice Christmas present. His daughter's killed because of some jerk cop. In an interview with the New York Daily News back in June, Goods described his memory of the interaction prior to his car being rammed. He was screaming at... Now, is there any... I'm going to read this and ask yourself, do you believe what this guy's telling you? I'm sure you do, because I believe it. I've done enough stories to know what these bad cops are up to and their behavior, and their M.O. He was screaming at me, you were going 100 miles per hour and you shook my car, Goods recalled. I said, the tractor trailer in front of me shook a car. I had my hands on the steering wheel. I didn't get out of the car. I was no threat to him, Goods said. I asked for a supervisor. Very good. The two argued with the trooper, demanding to know if there were guns or drugs in the car. Goods, excuse me. One of the big reasons police like to stop cars. Nothing to do with traffic. Well, it has to do with revenue. That's part of it. But they like to stop you because they can get into your car. It's much easier for them to get in your car and search it. Most people don't know their rights. Many people are intimidated. They won't stand up. They don't know what to do. And quite frequently, if you follow Facebook pages of these police departments, they'll put one of their pat me on the back stories, how they stopped the car and seized all kinds of drugs and guns. So this is why they like to stop cars all the time. This is why they sit there and watch cars go by. They don't give a rat's ass about the crime in your community. What they want to do is stop cars so they can get into a car, try to make an arrest, get a pat on the back, and generate some revenue for the town. My wife said she was tired, and he said, I don't give a shit if you are tired. Good recall. The trooper returned to his cruiser, and when he returned, he flooded Good's SUV with pepper spray. Good said the trooper was well aware there were young girls in the car when he sprayed. So this trooper is out of control. This, it's another nut job on the loose. And this is crap that goes on because when they're out there on the road, they are unsupervised and they do what the hell they want. And they used to get away with it because there was no cameras. Now there's cameras. And they're not getting away with this crap anymore. Social media is exposing them for what many of them are, which is bad. No effing good. He didn't warn us. He didn't warn us he was going to use pepper spray, Good said. He didn't say, get out of the car or you're under arrest. Good said his daughters are crying, and he feared for his family's safety. Instinctively, he said he drove off. Well, probably not a good idea. I didn't know what he was going to do next. Good, if you're going to drive off like that, at least pick up the phone, call 911, and say, look, I got a crazed trooper behind me. He stopped me. He's acting bizarre, violent, and I had to get, for my safety, I left. I'll pull over as soon as another supervisor comes around and stops because I fear for my life. That would be the thing to do if you're going to take off. Just don't take off and run. Take off, call 911, and tell them what's going on. So you have a record of what's happening. And as always, break out the phone and start recording. I didn't know what he's going to do, but holy shit, this guy is going to kill me now. Making chase after Goods as he tried to drive away. Baldner hit him twice and flipped the SUV. Now, I saw another video where some stupid cop did one of those clip the bumper deals and the car flipped over and poor girl, she's lucky she didn't get killed, but she got hurt. And she's in the car like upside down. Why did you do this? Well, you didn't stop. Oh, that's a reason to flip a car? Stupid assholes. Baldner had rammed into the moving cars with passengers at least twice previously. Though he had not previously murdered anyone doing so, his charges, as reported by the local NBC affiliate, include second-degree murder, second-degree manslaughter, and first-degree reckless endangerment. Baldner has a bail hearing on November 4th and faces a potential maximum of 25 years to life for the second-degree murder charge. Baldner has also been suspended from his job without pay. He should be fired. A state police spokesman told the Daily Freeman he could not recall in recent times a state trooper being indicted for murder. Monica's mother, Michelle Cersei, told the Chicago Defender she could make anybody laugh. It doesn't matter how you felt, and it hurts that we don't have that no more. We were robbed, and it's not fair. It's not fair. I feel their pain, Anybody's had children, you're going to lose your 11-year-old daughter because of some stupid asshole. For its part, Baldner's Union of the Police Benevolent Association says in a statement reported by Associate Press that as this case makes its way through the legal system, we look forward to a review and public release of the facts, including the motorist reckless actions that started this chase of events. The union is a big problem, and this is just another lack of empathy. Gonna blame the victim. Well, the victim may have taken off, but the victim didn't tell the trooper to ram the back of the car. You know, thank goodness here in New Jersey, they have a no chase policy now. If you're going to take off and drive crazy, the cop is not chasing you. And I think that's the way it should be. This story is reported on October 29th, 2021 on the Akron Beacon Journal. Reads as follows. Man believed to be Cleveland cop arrested for allegedly threatening to shoot people in Akron bar. A man, oh, here we go. Here's the story before I forget. There it is. A man believed to be a Cleveland police officer was arrested early Friday morning in an Akron bar in Akron for allegedly threatening to shoot people inside a bar on West Market Street. Sean Bannerman, 26, who had a Cleveland police ID on him, was arrested without incident during a traffic stop. Akron police reported the Cleveland Police Department did not immediately return a call seeking comment and confirmation that Bannerman is a police officer. Akron police said they responded to a call about 1:20 a.m. at Ray's Pub in the 800 block of West Market Street for a report that man threatened to shoot everyone inside the bar. Witness told police that the man lifted his shirt and flashed a handgun in his waistband. Alright, what happened here? Alright, well, that's all they have on that. You know, violence. Violence is the problem. And there's an old saying, a drunk man's words is a sober man's thoughts. So, this cop, obviously, in my opinion, has violent tendencies. And he probably was drinking. That's why he was in the bar. And the real person came out pointing guns. Probably one of those, you know, I had a friend, he's gone now, but he was a nice guy, but the minute he started drinking, he turned into a nut. And we went out one time to the Go-Go bar, and he's like, John, that guy keeps looking at me. I'm like, dude, nobody's looking at you. They're looking at the girls. No, he's looking at me. I'm like, you know what, we got to go. And whenever he drank, he would get in fights, and it was not good. This is reported on October 30th, 2021 on Yahoo News. Reads as follows. A black Louisiana cop was charged after being accused of tasing suspect who called him racial slurs during an arrest, reports say. And there's the story right there. Alright, let's find out what happened. A black Louisiana cop was taken into custody after being accused of tasing a suspect who made racial slurs against him during an arrest in September. And how many times I say we got to we give them these tools to do things and they just use it to inflict pain on us. Monroe police officer Timothy Miller was arrested and charged with aggravated battery and malfeasance in his office in connection with Miller's use of a taser on a suspect during arrest on September 24, 2021. The city of Monroe said in a statement on Friday, KNO TV reported, suspect's name was not released. According to an affidavit obtained by KNO-TV, the suspect did not immediately follow Miller's multiple requests to get inside his patrol car during the arrest. Once the suspect got inside the car, he started using slurs against Miller, and according to the report, that's when Miller tased him. Miller was put on leave 3 days later on September 27th, and the Ouachita Parish Sheriff's Office conducted an investigation. Our police, here we go, get ready for the cop-splaining propaganda. Our police officers face difficult and challenging situations every time they put on the uniform and are focused to react to intense involving circumstances. Well, I know the difficult situations are. They have to decide whether they want to beat the crap out of somebody, break their jaws, crush their skull, stomp their heads, kick them in the ribs, shoot them in the back. That's a big decision. You know, it's very simple. I'm going to leave you with, I'll let you think about this right here. Don't let other people's behavior determine your behavior. And that's what this cop did. He let that guy's behavior determine his behavior. You know, hasn't that cop ever heard what's the story? The rhyme, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I'm not saying him calling them racial slurs is the right thing to do. I don't personally think it is. Just call him a bad cop, a blue zero, anything along that line. Attack his role as a police officer, not his role as a man. I understand why the cop reacted the way he did, but he should. That doesn't make it right. So now he's in trouble. The job is insanely difficult, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it's just more of that propaganda bullshit. This is reported on November 1st, 2021, and this is on Kansas City Star, kansascity.com. Off-duty cop charged with shooting at carjackers at Sam's Club, Chicago officials say. There it is. Now, I want to tell you, this is another well-trained, dedicated, professional hero, out risking our lives. The training that they get is unbelievable, and you're going to find out in this story here, because this one I did read. An off-duty Chicago police officer was charged with reckless discharge of a firearm after she was accused of shooting at carjacking suspects while in a Sam Club parking lot on October 30th. The stolen vehicle was found 2 hours later, and 6 males, one 26-year-old, and 5 juveniles were taken into custody, Chicago police said. They should take the parents in. Well, the parent. We know what's raising them. Annetta Sampson Carney, 58, was shopping at an Evergreen Park Sam's Club with her husband and loading groceries into her Toyota 4Runner at 6:45 p.m. when 3 males approached her. Court documents provided by the state attorney says they offered to help load the running car, and one of the males got into the car and drove away, the documents say. None of the males threatened Carney or her husband or indicated that they had a weapon, the documents say. The encounter is also captured on nearby surveillance video. Carney and her husband ran after the vehicle, and it stopped for a moment as one of the 2 other males ran after the vehicle. Carney then shot her gun once at the vehicle, hitting the ground as the car drove. Why would she shoot? See, that's stupid. You're not in imminent danger. You're only using that gun for imminent danger purposes. If they turned the car around and coming at her, yeah, she'd have a right. So there you go. There's a well-trained police officer. You got to take the guns away from them. They're dangerous. Several pedestrians, including children, were walking in the parking lot in nearby aisles when Carney fired, the documents say. Thank goodness nobody got hurt. All 3 suspects escaped. Carney called the police but didn't mention she had fired her gun. Those little minor details. During the call, the documents say, the shell casings matched her gun was recovered. The documents say Carney does not have a known criminal history. I hope not. She's a cop. 2 hours later, police saw a car of the same make and model as Carney's driving in downtown Chicago. Police said when officers tried to stop the vehicle, the driver fled and shortly after rear-ended another car, police said. 6 people, one 26-year-old male, and 5 juveniles tried to flee, but were caught, police said. Carney appeared in bond court on the Class 4 felony charge of reckless discharge of firearm and was given a $5,000 bail bond. Her next court date is November 8th. And that's that. This is reported on November 3rd, 2021 on police1.com. Reads as follows. San Francisco cop charged with manslaughter after man he shot in 2017 dies. San Francisco prosecutors have charged a police officer with voluntary manslaughter in a 2017 shooting of a man who died 3 years later after while an inmate at San Quentin State Prison. Officer Kenneth Cha became the second police officer to be charged with a homicide on active duty in the department's history with the filing by a district attorney. In addition to the manslaughter charge, Cha faces a charge of assault with a semi-automatic firearm, along with enhancements for infliction of bodily harm. In connection with the January 6, 2017 shooting, Cha was arrested Tuesday morning. Sean Moore, who was schizophrenic and unarmed, was wounded by Cha on the doorstep of his San Francisco home after the officer and his partner responded to a call over failure to comply with a restraining order obtained by a neighbor over noise. The 46-year-old Moore survived the shooting but died in January 2020 while serving a prison sentence in San Quentin. According to the prosecutors, gunshots lacerated Moore's liver and struck his right colon, scarring internal organs and causing severe abdominal adhesions. When Moore died on January 2020, the Marin County Coroner's report indicated the cause of death was a homicide, that he died from acute intestinal obstruction as a result of the bullet wounds. We rely on officers to follow the training. That was his training. Shoot. They're not going to de-escalate. They're not going to have a conversation. Shoot. They're looking to shoot you. They want to kill you because they think that they can get away. In most cases, they do get away. They want to get that smoking gun tattoo. Officer Cha elevated a nonviolent encounter to one that's exactly right. That statement right there, I'll read it again. Officer Cha elevated a nonviolent encounter to one that took Sean Moore's life. I wonder what the average time is when a cop shows up, that it goes from 0 to being dead. We had a situation right here in Asbury Park, Hassani Best. Look it up. Cops showed up. They did good for the first 60 minutes, and then the cop shot him point blank in the chest. Even though there was other cops standing around with body shields and pepper spray and stun guns. This is how bad cops. Now this could be a stupid cop, okay? Stupid's just bad, stupid's just one level above bad. This is probably a stupid cop, and resort to the gun. Why you gotta shoot? Take the guns away from them. Officer counter to one that took Sean Moore's life. Sean Moore was unarmed and at his own home. You're not even safe in your own home when these psychopaths, these sociopaths show up. When Officer Cha shot him twice, they should only be allowed to have one bullet. And that shouldn't be in the first chamber. It has to be in the second chamber. So pow, and then you got a second to wait. Or maybe they should put like a delay reaction on the gun. Was unarmed at his own home when Officer Cha shot him twice. Bolden declared as he announced the charges. Bolden said Cha lacked a lawful basis to even arrest Moore. He added, when officers inflict unwarranted violence and flagrant disregard of their training, it denigrates the hard... there is no hard work. This is propaganda time. They can't resist putting that propaganda out in every story. Hard work of police officers and shout us to trust our community places in law enforcement. We don't place any trust. I don't. Rebuilding that trust requires us to hold those officers who inflict unlawful violence accountable. Well, that's pretty much about all of them, isn't it? Cha encountered Moore when he responded to a report that Moore banged on a neighbor's gate in the middle of the night in violation of a noise restraining order. Body-worn camera footage captured the encounter between Moore and the two officers at the door of his home up a narrow staircase. Moore denied harassing his neighbors, indicating he knew about the order, and explained that he had not been violating as he had just been sweeping his stairs and removing his trash. He repeatedly demanded they leave using derogatory names and swearing. Well, see, that's what it's all coming down to now. The police, their feelings got hurt. Cha and his partner came up the steps a second time and Cha pepper sprayed Moore, inadvertently spraying his partner as well, according to the... Jesus. What's he like, spraying wild? Moore dropped the papers through the... when the partner repeated that... Moore picked up the... hold on, let me get back here. Cha pepper sprayed Moore, inadvertently spraying his partner as well, according to the prosecutors who offered this summary of what happened next. Moore picked up the restraining order papers dropped by the partner as both officers retreated down the stairs. When the partner, Officer Collins Patino, demanded that Moore return the papers, Moore dropped the papers through the security gate down the stairs and returned inside. The officers then ordered Moore outside, telling him he was under arrest, and Cha threatened to kick in the gate if he did not come outside on his own. Moore then came outside from behind the security gate and informed the officers that he needed medical attention. Seeing Moore, Patino headed up the stairs as Moore move down to pick up some papers. Both officers ran up the stairs a third time with their batons raised. As Mr. Moore began retreating backwards up the steps toward his home, according to prosecutors, Patino hit him with his metal baton. Mr. Moore struck back, and Officer Patino fell down the stairs. Officer Jaw drew his gun, pointed at Mr. Moore, and ran up the steps towards Mr. Moore, who reacted by kicking in the direction of Officer Cha. Cha then shot Moore twice. Yeah, he was getting his ass kicked. The shooting occurred 8 minutes after the officers had arrived. Both officers have maintained their actions were legal and justified given Moore's action. Well, Moore told them to get the hell out of there, and they didn't get the hell out. He told me he wasn't doing anything. They weren't, the cops weren't there, didn't see it go on. So, you know, again, what it comes down to is, hey, if we keep asking you enough questions, will you tell us what we want to hear? Moore was charged with 8 counts, including assault on a peace officer. They're not peace officers. They're troublemaking officers. But the charges were dismissed by a San Francisco Superior Court judge for lacking probable cause, and the appellate court affirmed the court's decision. Later, a federal court cited the appellate decision, finding that the officers acted unlawfully when they went up. Moore stairs the second time and third time. The courts determined that the officers had not acted lawfully when they used pepper spray and batons. Neither officer had been asked to conduct a citizen's arrest. Moore, however, was sentenced to prison for making a criminal threats and harassing calls to a civilian police department employee. In the wake of Moore's death, the city of San Francisco settled a lawsuit filed by Moore's family for $3.25 million. And how much will those officers have involved in that $3 million? They're not paying one penny. They're going to lose their job and spend a little time in a pokey. In a statement from Bowdoin office, Cleo Moore, Sean Moore's mother, says she was very happy that Officer Cha will be held accountable for her son's killing, and explained that she believes he was criminalized due to his mental health, which led to the shooting. The San Francisco police officers issued a statement Tuesday that the charges against Cha. So I'm not going to read it because it's just more cops explaining. So you got cops showing up, and they didn't handle the situation well. And as I've said in the past, the intelligence level of some of these cops is to be questioned. This story is dated November 2nd, 2021. It's reported on the New Haven Register. Reads as follows. New Haven police officer arrested on harassment, computer crime charges. There it is. All right, let's find out what this well-trained hero is up to. New Haven, a city police officer was arrested Tuesday in connection with family violence-related offenses. Oh, what a surprise. Family violence. Well, that's domestic violence, last I heard. And as we all know, domestic violence is one of their favorite things to do. Let's find out what he did. Monique Moore, a member of the force since November 2014, has been charged in connection with 2 criminal matters, Sergeant Shana Kendall said in an email. In the first, Moore, I'm assuming this is a female. In the first, Moore is charged with second-degree harassment, third-degree criminal mischief. She also is charged with 2 counts of third-degree computer crimes. Moore was placed on administrative leave by Interim Chief Renee Dominiques, who the hell knows, on October 6th, 2 days after the department learned of the potential criminal actions, Kendall said. She turned herself into police Tuesday after being arraigned. Moore was released on promise to appear in both cases, Kendall said. The details surrounding each incident are limited as both warrants are court sealed. Kendall said a parallel administrative investigator is presently being conducted into Moore's conduct by the New Haven Police. The matter underscores the department's commitment to protecting victims. While Moore had a positive record in interacting with the community, she said the criminal charges were warranted by the investigation and evidence presented to the state attorney. Hold on. We have to hold individuals accountable, and that's what this is, said the blah blah. It's always troubling when an officer is arrested. No, it's always heartwarming to know when they're arrested. That means they're not out there causing any more problems. It's difficult, but I think the community needs to know we investigate every claim. Dominguez declined to go into detail Tuesday, noting the warrant in the respective cases were under seal, but said the computer crime charges were related to misuse of departmental computers. Well, I got a feeling she probably was having a fight on the computer. Okay, this story here is... I'm not sure when this took place. It's recently, though, I know that. Alright, so it's on bringmethenews.com. Ex-Minneapolis cop convicted of stealing drugs during surges. Well, what a surprise. Stealing drugs. I suppose he stole money, too, huh? Just speculating. But stole drugs. He's convicted. Here's the story right here, people. Alright, let's find out. A former Minneapolis police officer has been convicted of stealing drugs he seized during searches and traffic stops. Ty Jindra, well, the name alone, you're guilty. 29, was found guilty in federal court of 3 counts of acquiring a controlled substance by deception and 2 counts of deprivation of rights under color of law. Ty Jindra failed to uphold his oath as a police officer. He failed the community he was sworn to serve. I'm so sick of this, okay? This oath thing means nothing. They swear to uphold the Constitution. People, the Constitution is there to protect us against government overreach. So why would he swear an oath to that, to stop the government from overreaching? They do everything but stop the government from overreaching. And they don't serve the government, the people. They serve the government. A former has been convicted. Let's see, let me go back here. Ty Jindra was found guilty in federal court of 3 counts of acquiring a controlled substance. Blah, blah, blah. Ty Jindra failed to uphold his oath as a peace officer. He failed the community he was sworn to serve, and he failed his fellow officers. Acting United States Attorney W. Anders Folks said in a statement, from September 2017 to October 2019, while he was an officer of the Minneapolis Police Department, Jindra obtained methamphetamine, oxycodone, fentanyl, tramadol, and other drugs by conducting unconstitutional searches and seizures, and then didn't report, log, or put the drugs into evidence, the release said. Jindra, on some occasions, would search a person, vehicle, or home so he could secretly recover drugs without his partner seeing them, the release said. And at times, he conducted searches that were beyond that were warranted in an attempt to recover drugs. So this guy had a little drug thing going on. According to the Star Tribune, in one instance, he stole tramadol, a synthetic opioid, during a traffic stop for his own use and did not mention he discovered the drugs when he filed his report. In another instance, he separated some oxycodone pills for himself during a traffic stop, hiding the pills in a latex glove. He then submitted a false report. He was also convicted of illegally searching vehicles. So this guy is a crook. He's a rights violator. He's a drug addict. He's bad news. And this is what's running around out there with a badge and a gun. U.S. Attorney Office says Jindra faces a maximum sentence of up to 4 years in prison for each of the 3 counts of acquiring controlled substance, and a maximum 1 year in prison for each of the 2 civil rights counts. See, I think the violating the civil rights should be the 4 years and the drugs less. Jindra was hired by the Minneapolis Police Department in 2013, was fired in July 2020 after he violated department policies related to searches and seizures. Charges said he was charged with an 11-count indictment in November 2020. His trial lasted 9 days. He was found not guilty on 6 other counts he faced. Well, there you go. Another well-trained professional out there protecting himself, getting drugs while risking our lives. All right, you're gonna like this one, people. This is a combination. She's a badge bunny and she's a cop. This is reported on WGN9.com, and it came out on November 5th, 2021. Chicago police officer charged in fatal shooting of her husband, who is also an officer. Now, I always say that cops can only date other cops. Cops can only be friends with other cops. But there's some things that don't, the leopard doesn't change his spots simply because it's with another leopard. So the two of them are at risk. All right, here's the story. Take a good look at her. A Chicago police officer has been charged in the fatal shooting of her husband, who was an officer. Jacqueline Villasenor, 39, faces one count of involuntary manslaughter, according to officials. Investigators said she and her husband were arguing at their far northwest side home on the 8500 block of West Winona Street around 7:45 p.m. Tuesday when they began struggling over a gun. The weapon fired once, killing Villasenor, 44-year-old husband. His name has not been released pending an autopsy. She's due in court on Friday. Well, oh well. You learn this lesson. You're a cop. Don't marry a cop. It's like this. Don't marry a cop. Don't get romantically involved with a cop. And I don't care if you're a cop. This is dated November 3rd, 2021. It's on civilbeat.org. Former Maui cop sentenced to sex case. There you go. We don't do, I think this is the first story I'm doing on something out of Hawaii, out that way. Brandon Saffield was sentenced to 30 months behind bars soliciting sex from a woman he arrested in exchange for throwing testimony in her case. Well, once again, the little head took over. A former Maui police officer was sentenced Wednesday 30 months for soliciting sex. Brandon Saffield, 36, was sentenced to public corruption in the form of honest services wire fraud after pleading guilty in May 2021, engaging in a bribery scheme in which he solicited sex from a female motorist in exchange for an official act as a police officer. Again, there is no poo-tang out there, no vagina out there worth going to jail with or risking your job that you have a pension waiting for you over. Nothing. The victim told Hawaii News now that Saffield offered to throw his testimony in a drunken driving case in exchange for sexual acts. Well, here he is. Take a good look at him. That's another well-trained, dedicated, professional hero. In July 2019, when then-Officer Saffield arrested the woman for operating a motor vehicle while under the influence of an intoxicant, according to court records. Afterwards, Saffield began communicating with the woman through phone calls and text messages, among other things. Saffield told the woman he would help her beat the state case being brought against her by providing perjured testimony so the court would throw out her case or the jury would rule in her favor according to the court documents. See, I would look at it this way. If I got arrested for drunk driving, and then let's just say it's a female officer, and you got back and says, hey, John, I'll help you out. We'll get this ticket thrown out if you help me out sexually. I'd be like, bitch. You threw me under the bus and now you want to help me? The time to help me was back then, not now. See, my brain, I would just set them all up. That's what I would do. I would set the fucker up. Among other things, Saffield told the woman that he would help her, blah, blah, blah. Brandon Saffield betrayed her. Oh, here we go. I'm telling you, man. Every time I read these stories, there's always this little disclaimer. Brandon Saffield betrayed our expectations that law enforcement officers will not take advantage of their authority for personal benefits. What is this? It's doing a comedy act? Acting U.S. Attorney for the District of Hawaii, Judith Phillips, said in a statement, this prosecution demonstrates our determination to hold public officials accountable for criminal abuse by their abuse of their position. The FBI conducted the investigation that led to Saffield's conviction. Cornerstone of the public's trust in law enforcement relies on the explanation that each person will take the oath to protect... I'm not going to read it because, it's just a waste of breath. This is reported on October 13, 2021, KIMT3TV. It seems like I can never do any of these Blue Zero Hero stories without coming across child sex crimes by these heroes. Ex-police officer pleads not guilty to child sex crimes in Rochester. There he is. Oh, he'll plead something. He may not plead guilty, but he'll plead something. They'll make a deal. You watch. A former Rochester police officer is pleading not guilty to child sex crimes. Joshua Paul Labor, 42 of Rochester, was arrested in March and charged with second-degree criminal sexual conduct and possession of pornographic work involving minors. Investigators say they got 3 reports about Labor from Olmsted County Social Services. One involved putting a camera in a bathroom when a juvenile female took a shower. Another was a juvenile female telling a therapist that Labor told the girl he wanted to have sexual contact with her. A third report was about the victim telling a friend that Labor had touched her genitals. In addition, Rochester police say a search of a computer found in a car registered to Labor was pornographic images of females between 10 and 11. Wow. He resigned from the Rochester Police Department in April 2015, and these crimes allegedly happened in 2019. So, it looks to me like he was a cop. He's an ex-cop. And, nonetheless, probably was doing his crap when he was a cop. This is dated October 25th, 2021. It's on News Channel 3. It's KS... I don't have my glasses, so I can't see very well. Well, anyway, it's News Channel 3, and it reads as follows. It's out of Utah, Roy, Utah. KSL, that's it. Cop charges sexually abusing 2 children. There you go. Child abuse, child porn, this is the #1 stories that I keep coming across. I used to think it was violence against women, but it's not. And again, I keep repeating myself, I do not specifically search for this kind of stuff. I just put in cop charged, cop indicted, cop arrested, cop sentenced. A Roy police officer faces 5 first-degree felony charges accusing him of sexually abusing 2 young girls. I wonder how young they are. Ryan Esty, 38 of Roy, is charged in 2nd District Court with 2 counts of rape of a child and 3 counts of aggravated sexual abuse of a child for incidents that allegedly have occurred between 2015 and 2017. Estes was placed on administrative leave once the police department learned about the case, said Roy Police Chief Matthew Gwynn. He will remain on leave until we have thoroughly evaluated the facts of this case and can make a determination as to continued employment status, said. Estes was investigated by the Clinton Police Department. One victim was between 10 and 13 old when Estes sexually abused her on more than one occasion, inappropriately touching her and forcing her to touch him, according to charging documents. One of the things I always told my daughter when she's young, I said, nobody will touch you anywhere that you are uncomfortable with. And if anybody's touching your private parts or under your shirt, you come to your dad right away and we'll handle it. I'll be mad at you if you don't tell me. And she knew that, this bullshit doesn't go on. And we never had a problem that I'm aware of. The last time the abuse occurred, the girl said she thought to herself this was very wrong and intentionally made sure to never be alone with him thereafter, the charges state. The second victim described being sexually abused and inappropriately touched when she was 13 years old. According to the charges, Estes was arrested and booked into Davis County Jail on Tuesday and remained there Sunday. Investigators have requested Estes be held without bail, an arraignment scheduled for November 4th. The charging documents indicate that the maximum presumptive sentence for a conviction of rape of a child is 25 years to life and 15 years to life for aggravated sexual assault.